Hi, I'm Kathleen Fraser. I'm here with you again on tonight. Um, it's 11:38, Sunday, March 17th. So I'm trying to get back into it. Um, Today I'm just going to talk about women and how we just give ourselves away to wrong people. Yeah, not that I want to brag, but in 2023, in actuality, I was three different people asked me to marry them, and I knew they really weren't for me, so I didn't really, like go there because there are different types, of men out here, and there are really some good men out there. Let me just say, there are good men out there. Uh, Unfortunately, for whatever reason, they're wherever they are, and the guys who asked me to marry them, I guess they were okay. It's just that our belief system is a little kind of different, and then there are some things I'm just not going to compromise on. So I just keep it moving. And the best thing you could do for yourself, ladies, is to, take care of yourself, keep your mind healthy, by doing things to elevate yourself, have a positive attitude, um, work out, eat right, and do all these different things. And as much as you can, stay away from stressful situations. Like there's good stress and there's bad stress, but I'm not getting into that right now. But stay away from bad stress. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Stay away from bad stress. um I've also been meeting men who just want to like use women. Okay, and it's easy to identify them if you're paying attention, because some people just don't want to be alone. They have a problem being on their own, and I'm not one of those people, thank God, because by the grace of God I have a pretty decent life, and I am healthy and I'm doing okay, and I'm not desperate. But I do think that there are some women out there who are desperate, and so when you're desperate, you may end up doing things that you normally wouldn't do, even marrying someone who's not right for you, someone who's actually unequally yoked. Unequally yoked doesn't necessarily mean because he's not a believer. You can know a believer who is unequally yoked. He might like certain things that you're not into. You don't have like that compatibility. And that there are things that's like your pet peeve that will drive you up the wall, and he seems to embody those pet peeves. You understand what I'm saying? So when you hook up with someone, you want to make sure that that's the right someone. But the type of men that I'm talking about are the men who like to. I heard the phrase. It's called what, love bombing, and I've come across men like that actually. I met this guy, and I barely knew this guy, and he seemed okay, so I gave him my number, right? And then he's calling me and telling me like, oh, he wants to like lay with me and all these different things. He wants to see me, and he's coming in like hard and heavy, like he and then he loves me and all these things, and we haven't even gone out on a date. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that crazy? But we did talk on the phone, and he shared some stuff with me, like, oh, he's going through all these different situations in life. And that's another thing. I find that there are men out there who try to draw you into their, I don't know, situation, or maybe it's made up situation. Because I'm thinking a lot of these situations that they're talking about is actually made up. And I don't know if this is the right term, but I'm going to call it like some sort of bonding thing they do. Like they tell you all these things about themselves that's not going right. So it create some sort of like bond between you and him. I don't know. Whatever, there's a phrase, but I can't think of it right now. Trauma bonding. So they're having a rough time with this situation. They have to leave someplace because it wasn't working out. Someone took their money and now they don't have any money and all these different things. And they tell you this like tragic story to get you all into them, and you're listening to them, and like they tell some really good stories. It sounds like some of these men, they really could get like an Oscar because they're that good, right? But you pay attention, and then like you don't even know the person, and they like you so much, and they think about you all the time, and they dream about you and all these things. I mean, I'm not saying that it can't happen, but you just meet this person, and I'm like, brother, you don't know me like that. You know what I'm saying? And I guess maybe their tactics work with other women, so they feel like everyone will fall for all the love bombing and whatnot. And then, you pay attention, because I like to pay attention when people are talking. And then you ask them questions. And then when you go back and you ask them the same question in a different way, and their answer is like different, and it's all over the place. And then they talk about like wanting to get with you. First of all, I let men know that I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, and the only person I intend to have sex with is someone that I am married to. That's my bottom line. That's the beginning, the middle, and the end. That's what it is. Okay, that's what it is. So, and then it's like I tell them this, and I'm like, I let them know that, hey, don't look at me as a challenge because I'm telling you this, because I do know that there are women who claim to be saving themselves for marriage, and then the guy maneuver and love bomb them and all these different things, finesse them and all these different things, and then they give in to them and they have sex with them, and then that the relationship is like kaput. And there are some women who actually had ended up getting preggo, for these people, and then the man like dropped them like a hot potato after he's like, oh, I'm gonna marry you, just let's I want to test you before I marry you. I want to make sure that we're whatever, so I need to test it before I marry you. And I do know of women who have tested it, and then the brother just kicked them to the curb after he got what he wanted, and that's about that. Well, I'm not on that, because there are things about sex before marriage. Sex before marriage is actually a covenant. All right, because sex is made for marriage. God made sex for marriage. And when you have sex with someone you're not married to, you're in a covenant with that person as though you're married. So I know some of you may not be familiar. Well, everyone really should be familiar that there is a spiritual realm, people. There really, really is. So now you're having all these connections with all these different men, having sex with men here, there, and everywhere. And that's a lot of soul ties. You know what I mean? That's a lot of covenants, contracts, if you will. And you don't even know that you have contracts with, like, let's say you slept with 5 men. You have 5 contracts. And in the realm of the spirit, that's like a marriage. Sex is marriage in the realm of the spirit. Okay, and so that means something in the realm of the spirit, and whatever demons they have gets transferred into you and vice versa. So that's a demonic activity which puts you in the line of fire with the lowercase g of this world, the lowercase god of this world. And you know what I've always wondered? I've wondered what would happen if women were to stop having sex with men that they're not married to. Would it make the world relationships healthier? I'm just wondering. You know what I'm saying? I'm just wondering. And and this is something else I noticed about the men who want to manipulate. They In the past, we didn't used to use the word narcissist, but the word narcissist is very prevalent nowadays. This one guy, he was trying, well, this is a different guy. He was trying to groom me, you know, like because I told him that he was trying to tell me, like, he's a believer. He acted like he was this great man of God and whatnot. And of course, he was, having sex with, people. He was okay with having sex. And he actually used to pray with me and pray for me. And wow. And he really, in the beginning, I really like thought he was for real. And then it turned out that he was on games. He was definitely on games. And the thing that some of these men do who are playing with you, they groom you. Let's say you have a standard, no sex before marriage, and then you end up having sex with them. And then let's say there are different activities that they want to do that you don't want to do. And they manipulate you in such a way that you move your boundary and then you say okay to it. And then they keep pushing your boundaries. And then you keep moving your boundary over and over and over and giving them what they want. And meanwhile, you're getting more and more addicted to that person because sex forms a tie, a soul tie, and you keep wanting to be with this person. And I do know that there are people who have developed spirit spouses, incubus, succubus, because of, sex before marriage. Now, there are different ways people get these spirit spouses. I'm just talking, guys. I don't have any notes. I'm just talking. I'm just trying to get back into the swing of, being back on here. I was on here for like a month last year, something like that, you know. But I'm just chatting right now because I have a lot of thoughts about a whole lot of things. It's my belief, and I know people are gonna do what they're gonna do because it is what it is. You have your free will. One of the reasons why people have spirit spouses, like a man who sleep with you in your dreams, and men also have spirit spouses, women who sleep with them in their dreams as well. And then they feel like it's real. That's because it is real. Because the spirit realm is really real. It's real, okay? And then there are things going on here with the spirit spouse. That spirit spouse gets jealous of you when you have a relationship. And not only does it get jealous of you in relationships, it also wants to destroy not just your relationship with let's say you're dating someone. The spirit spouse will destroy your relationship with that person and also create havoc in other areas of your life, like your business, your career and whatnot, because a spirit spouse don't want you to be happy and do well. And that's a fact. And I know that there are quite a few people who have spirit spouses, and sometimes they actually experience like they're having, you know, sex when they're wide awake, because they are kind of like, that's a really deep phenomenon, and it does happen to people. It happens to men and women. And one of the ways in which that happens is because of sex before marriage. And of course there are other ways too, like, people putting their hands to evil, which is unfortunate. you know there's so much going on in this world. There's so much to talk about, but I'm not getting into all of that. But I'm just trying to say, women, like I said a few beats ago, some people, not just women, by the way, some men just don't want to be alone. So they would latch on to someone, even though that person is not really the right person for them, because they don't want to be alone. And then there are some women who want the man so badly that they give into the physical relationship with them, even though they swore up and down that that's not what they were going to do. They wanted marriage first, but they allow the man to coerce them in a sweet, I guess, a sweet way into going that route, which is unfortunate. And that's one of the tricks that the enemy has, because a lot of people who are believers participate in fornication. Um, you know, they do that and they think it's okay because I don't know, maybe they don't believe that God is real, or sometimes I wonder, but the people who do that, they're not realizing that when they participate in that, and if, let's say, in some instances, the man may end up marrying the woman, and rare instances, but let's say he marries the woman, there'll be so much turmoil in quite a lot of cases. There'll be conflict in the marriage, a lot of, you know what I'm saying? And that is because of the sexual act before marriage. Because when you have sex before marriage, you're inviting evil spirits to torment your marriage when you do get married. But I'm not saying that God cannot have mercy on you. Yes, He can. But that will take prayer and fasting and really repenting and, doing your work with Christ in order to be delivered from that situation. And yes, there are other evils in the world that people can do that could cause, that's considered a sin. Not just sex before marriage, obviously, but there are different types of sin, idolatry. And, quite frankly, I think, you know what, no one is perfect and anything can happen to anyone. But I'm just saying, I'm just up here talking, and like if you guys are in my living room having a chat with me, be very careful who you sleep with if you're going there. I'm not going to tell you what to do. It's your life and you're going to do what you're going to do anyway. But I'm just, trying to share with you things to look out for. Be careful of the love bombers and the men who will groom you to do things that is outside of what you want to do. And they'll have you go from level 1 to level 5 when you wanted to stop at level 2. And they continue to groom you and make you think that, it's okay to do it. I mean, God is a good God. God is a God of love. Yes, God is a God of love. He's also a God of war. He's also a jealous God. God has different characteristics. And when you know what? None of us are perfect and we all make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? But be very, very careful out there. I know this one guy, right? He thought he was so slick. I used to date him years ago, and he kind of came back in my life, and he told me and he was supposedly this man of God as well, because men know I'm walking with Christ, so they love to tell me like, oh, like they're this big man of God type thing, and that's another trick that they use. But you know what? Some people, when they know you're a believer, they really think you're dumb, and that you'll fall for anything when they know you're a believer. But anyway, so this one guy, he lied about being a police officer, a state police officer, when he works as a security guard in a mental institution. I don't understand why he even had to lie about it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a security guard. And isn't it against the law to lie and say you're a police officer when you're not a police officer? Isn't that a lie? Isn't that against the law? And he's going around telling people this. So I conclude that he has some serious self-esteem issues. And also, there are some black men. I really conclude that they really don't like black women because of some of the things he used to say and his behavior. And I used to say, like, to him, "Do you even like me?" And these different things. But I think he was expecting me to go there with him physically because he said some really interesting things to me. And I guess he realized I wasn't going to go there, and he actually still lived with the person. He claimed that they split up because they grew apart, is what he told me. But they actually still live together. And actually, they were staying, I forgot their address, but they moved to some other address. You know what I mean? And I'm like, this is so sad. Why do people feel they have to manipulate people and play games with them emotionally? To me, that is so wicked. But I thank God that that I have a good head on my shoulder. I really gave him the benefit of a doubt because I used to date him a few years ago. And back then, I really thought he was a nice guy. I thought he was a nice person. I really, really did. But this second time or whatever, this time around, I remember back then God told me to walk away from this guy. So I walked away from him because God told me, not to go there with him, because I was in the world doing my thing. And so this time, we were talking and it seemed like that it was going to go somewhere. But he said some stuff to me like, whoa, I don't think this man likes black women. And to me, when a man treats a woman like that, he must have some mommy issues. But there's nothing wrong with being a security guard, so I don't see why he should go around lying and say he's a state police officer. That makes absolutely no sense. But anyway, I just came on here to chat for a couple of minutes and I'm going to hop off and get some work done. To God be the glory. I thank God for everything He has done for me. Blessings, everyone. Until next time. Until next time. Bye.